And it's great teaching, and I tell my children the same. Just fail.
Yes, and it's okay to fail. Oh my gosh, this is so hard for me to say.
From 18 years old, I made a bold decision to go head on to run this business on my own.
Once you're at the bottom, the only way is up. So I kept smiling because I told myself, I'm already at the bottom lah. How more bottom can this be?
Hi everyone, I'm Nurul Aini. Welcome to Canteen Chats, where we dig deep into big questions parents face today. So, why do we think there's only one model answer to get through life? Success isn't a straight line. It's personal, unique, sometimes unexpected. Today, we'll explore why it's so important to think beyond the standard school to uni route and how to help our kids choose their own path. Stick around because our panelists are here to shed light on this conversation. Let's meet them.
Hi, I'm Farhan Firdaus. I'm a venture capitalist. We are essentially fund managers. We manage the funds of ultra high net worth individuals, like the top 50 richest in each country, with my partners. I got offices in other parts of Southeast Asia. I'm also an ex-IT student, ex-poly student, and a lot of X's.
A lot of X's.
Yep.
We'll dig more into that later on.
Hi, my name is May, and I'm a stay-at-home mum of 2 children. My elder child has just entered the big world of secondary school, and my younger one will be doing her PSLE next year. I did consider a 3rd child, and I proposed this to my husband, and he said, sure, I'll buy you a dog.
Hi everyone, I'm Darling. I'm a teacher and I have a passion for drama and everything that is romantic and good.
Hi, I'm Alexandre Tang, the founder of Sugar Belly, and I went to culinary school and I'm a pastry chef.
For people who might not go the usual route, there is a path for them, okay? And I am a living example of that because I didn't go to university. I don't have a degree, but I am so happy and I am doing what I do with so much passion. And I think that's very important. Okay, before we get into the topic, I'm going to first show you a clip from Lion Mums. You guys watch Lion Mums?
I love that show.
Alexandre, but you're so young. You watch
I
Lion
love
Mums?
it. I subscribe to Me Watch just to watch Lion Mom.
I love you already, sister. Okay, let's watch the clip.
Nabila!
You're supposed to get ready for your class.
But Mommy, this is so much fun.
Nabila is already such a clever girl. She studies so hard in school and you still want her to study some more? No need.
No, I need to get her ready for primary 1. The syllabus is not going to be
I am teaching her how to get ready for the real world. What kind of a wife and mother will she be if she doesn't know how to cook and bake?
Oh no. So I guess Alexandre, you will be a good mom lah, huh? I'm actually guilty of being that kind of parent who wants my children to go to enrichment classes. But I'm trying to look at things differently. And that's why we are having this conversation. Also for me to learn as a parent, okay? We'll start with Farhan. So Farhan, you went to ITE, which isn't always seen as a first choice. What are the challenges that you face?
IT was actually the path for me to success. I think when I was sitting for my O-levels during that time, a lot of challenging things happened. My dad, he had a stroke and then, he became a quote-unquote vegetable. So he couldn't...
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so there goes one breadwinner of the family. And then my mom, she was the sole breadwinner. And then my siblings at that time, 5 years old. Yeah, and then... age of 15 to 16, I had to start working and, part-time.
While you were in school, you were schooling part-time.
Correct. It was a challenging period. And of course, having to work, you don't have time to properly focus on your studies. So came the day when I was looking at my O-level results. The only 2 places I could go to was the same course in 2 different institutions. So one was in the east and then one was in the west.
Right.
So, and only one course in the whole of tertiary.
Wow.
Including poly, ITE, everything. So basically, it was a course that was phasing out. So it was today we call it secretarial studies. So against everything was for me, it was against all odds. So it was like this is the last chance. I was going to a course that in a way I'm a guy.
You're clueless about.
Training to be a secretary to whom. So I think for me, whenever I share this story, I always tell people I think it's the mindset lah. So it could have gone both ways. One is I could have kind of been negative And then I said, oh, why is the world against me? Wallow in self-pity, do a lot of vices, don't continue my school. Or the second path that I took was basically I said, hey, you know what? I could have studied harder. It is what it is. And now that ITE has presented itself, let's just work your way up. Since that time, and I think a quote stays with me and sticks with me, which is, once you're at the bottom, the only way is up. So I kept smiling because I told myself, I'm already at the bottom. How more bottom can this be?
But look at where you are
long
now.
road, yeah.
When you started in ITE, you were like clueless about the course that you're getting yourself
Correct.
into. But look at you now, how successful you are.
Because if I look around me, even today, all my peers, I think a lot of them, when you look right, you look left, Stanford, Harvard, Oxford, and then a lot of them, they come from, in terms of their pedigree, in terms of their school. If they come from the UK, then the top prep schools. If Singapore, then it's the, usual privileged schools, So I'm one of the few fund managers that come from, I would say, neighborhood school, and then they went to ITE.
That's fantastic. Alexandre, so actually I find that your journey into culinary school is inspiring. Did you
Thank you.
ever have second thoughts, or did you from the get-go okay, I'm gonna be a pastry chef?
I didn't know where I want to go. I was very clueless. So I thought to myself, okay, I like baking the most. So I'm just going to apply for it. Wow. And then I applied for it and I got it. Yeah, I got in to ITE. So then I went to ITE West, pastry and baking. And then I realized that I really, really like pastry and baking after I went into ITE. I decided that I wanted to dive deeper than just the courses that ITE was able to offer me at that point of time. I decided to take the leap of faith to go into a culinary school. And from then on, I've known that I wanted to be a pastry chef.
And she's only 23.
Yes,
You're
actually
only
22. Because my birthday.
Oh, come
is
on,
not
it's just
over.
1 year. Just say 23.
I mean, in 2025, I'll be 23, but technically, you haven't count my birthday, so I'm 22 lah.
Okay lah, 22 lah.
Yeah, 22 lah.
So
still
she
young
is 22 years old and she has her own business which is called Sugar Belly.
Yes.
They've just opened a new outlet in Jewel. How amazing
Jewel
is that?
Changi, yes.
She's 22. This is really inspiring. I really want my
Thank you
daughter
so
to
much.
watch this episode. Shall I start, you see? Okay. So anyway, what I want to touch on is that, well, how were your parents about it? Like when you got your O-level results, your N-level
Yes.
results, were they supportive of your decisions?
Actually, my parents are very supportive of whatever decision I make.
Wow.
Yeah, they are entrepreneurs themselves. They have a hair salon and they've been running that for about 40, 50 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
okay.
so they know that the conventional route is not the only way to go. So that's why they supported me through whatever decisions I make. And yeah, they are okay. They are okay with it.
Wow, very, very inspiring. Okay, Darling. So Darling is very interesting because she's Darling. She's a teacher, but before that, you were also. Let's just hear a little bit about yourself. You being a teacher wasn't the first choice.
So maybe I will go back to when I was 16. So I went ahead for a polytechnic education and I was in Nanyang Polytechnic. And then again, like back in those days, right, we didn't have so many choices and we wasn't so well informed. Alexa mentioned just now, you all had a lot of support from your family. You have very open-minded parents. But whereas like I can identify more with Fahan, like where, we are shaped by our the limitations in our family situation, in our upbringing. So my parents were not actually very educated. And then back then I was very attracted by this course called Community Services Management. I thought, wow, grassroots, I can get to help people, I thought that sounded really cool. So I enrolled. Yeah, so that's what education. And also because of my family's financial situation, I started working part-time since young. Yeah, since I was 16. Yeah, and you go out, you get scolded. You get scolded by customers, you get scolded by bosses, you get scolded by your colleagues, right? Who will without holding back, show you the realities of work and their expectations of you, right? You're no longer a student, right? You're not protected by your family, you're not protected by your teachers or the system. And I think those are all very good opportunities for me to grow as a person.
You also went to NIE and NTU.
I did. And so before that, I was actually working full-time in the banking industry.
Before you became a teacher.
Before I became a teacher, yes. So I spent about 1.5 years actually in the banking industry.
I see. So you were still, even though you're already in the working world, you're still finding your path.
Yes, in my previous life before I was a teacher, and I've been a teacher for 15 years now.
15 years already.
15 years, yes.
Oh, so this is the path that you have set.
I have set, yes.
Wow,
But
okay.
before that, in my previous lifetime, I actually did a total of about 15 jobs as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so
So it was mentioned that you call it trial and error.
yeah.
All the
trial
jobs
and
that
error, yes.
you did.
Yeah, I mean, we did it for the money. You need money to buy your books. You need money to buy for your tutorial notes. You need money to go out with friends. But yet at the same time, I think what I'm truly earning is life experience. Yeah, you know, like
Yeah.
I've worked from like being a cashier to like a promoter of hair dye and baby clothes. I mean, like, how convincing can you be when you were 18 years old and you're trying to sell baby clothes, right? You know, like moms will look at you and like, you sure you know what you're selling or not? Right? But I grew to understand like the needs of like people buying baby clothes, people buying men's clothes, and like people buying hair dye, right? And also at the same time, I think I also tried out things I'm very interested in. For example, I mentioned I was very interested in drama. I still am. Yeah, so I know back then, right? You know, if you want to try out things, right, you go to Yahoo groups. Yahoo.
No, Yahoo.
Yahoo.
Was it
Do you have it? No, you're studying on Yahoo.
He has no
I
idea.
don't have Yahoo idea. You go to Yahoo groups and then usually they'll put out like casting calls, you know, for auditions, and then I'll just go.
So like
and then,
Facebook.
Oh no,
no,
Yahoo
no,
was like
older
a
than
website, like a
Facebook.
search
Oh,
engine.
website.
It's a search engine. It's all
Yeah.
words, no pictures, nothing. It's just words. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, so where and then you know I just went for them, you know, like not knowing what to expect. But in the end I was cast in quite a few corporate videos, and
Wow.
Well, you're basically someone who does
Everything.
almost everything.
Fantastic.
And
I
I'm
watched
just
computer
wondering.
chips before in a clean room wearing those clean suits,
Oh, wow.
right? Where you see only the eyes.
Yes. So this is really truly you. Sometimes you set goals for your children. You want them to go a certain path, but they'll end up doing something totally different. And I think what's important is if they are passionate about something, that we give them the support. I say this because I also need to remind myself to be that sort of parent. So I have 3 children. I have 2 teenagers. My son, I think he is going the conventional way. Well, my daughter is the total opposite. So she's into drama. So she's into performing arts. And it was very difficult for me at first because, you know, my son did well for PSLE and like I'm like, okay, so it's going to be easy for my daughter as well. But then from when she was before primary 5, even when she was younger, I could already see that she is not really into academic achievements. She's more into performing arts and acting and singing. So what I did was I switched and I gave her my full support, and I could see how she bloomed, and she was really happy. So we tried for DSA drama and she got in. So that means she is, you know, that's her path probably. So I'm trying to, you know, as a parent, be the kind of parent who supports your child and try to understand that conventional way is not the only path for our children. Let me just ask May, as a parent, I don't know whether you're like me, I hope you're not. Do you want your children to go through the conventional method or the conventional ways?
Actually, I'm more excited if they are willing to explore and not go the traditional route.
Wow.
Yes. And I think it's because I'm mainly shaped by my parents as well. I think we're all shaped a lot by our parents and how they have role modeled for us.
They're our whole lives.
Yeah, they are. And I think my parents, being very modern and open-minded, they've never really told me that this is where I should go and what I should do. In fact, when I was finishing my O-levels, I told them, I am so done with Chinese. I am not going to do any
Is
more
that your
Chinese.
weakest subject?
Yes, I would think so. So I told them, even though I could go to JC, I would really like to go to poly instead. and they
were
agree and is
supportive? Wow.
supportive. And my dad and mom helped me choose a course that they think I might be interested in. And I think the conversations that we have at night is very helpful because they ask me open-ended questions and I get to find my own answers, and they endorses it and say, hey, let's try that. I mean, even if you find that the next 3 years in poly, it might be the wrong course for you, it doesn't matter because education is a journey to knowledge. So no matter what you do with it, or whatever you learn, and you decided that it's not something you want to pursue, you still learned something. So that's all education, and that will help you in future. Because I studied computer studies, so now I know a little bit of HTML. I can read coding and help the children with their IT stuff. So yes, it did give me a certain kind of knowledge that I may not have if I haven't gone in that
but
way.
it's so assuring, I would say, if parents were, so supportive. Alexan, when you were going through the culinary course, studying, did you face any challenges?
Yes, I did face a few challenges. Compared to running my own business, the challenges now seem minuscule. But definitely as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old enrolling in a non-conventional path, I had a lot of doubts that I wouldn't be seen as equal to my peers, and that a lot of my friends, because those people that enrolled in the culinary school, they are of age, like 23 and above. Yeah, so I was the only kid that 16, 17, mixing around with those people that are way older than me. So they might not understand what I'm going through, and they might not understand my generation as well. So seeing my friends hanging out with people their age also made me kind of admire them as a 16-year-old kid. So that was kind of a struggle that I had to go through. But my parents were very supportive and told me that all this will work out in the end, and that friends are here for not for a long time lah, like you know what I mean? Yes. Yeah, so more career is first. So that's why they taught me that since a young age. So yeah.
Did you ever feel like you're losing out?
Yes, all the time. Because I actually I started Sugar Belly back in 2020. So as a home-based business selling brownies, and I went full-time with it at the age of 18.
18?
Yes.
I was still drooling with saliva. 18 years old.
Yes.
That is so young.
Yeah, so from 18 years old, I made a bold decision to go head on to run this business on my own.
For you, Farhan, you are now a mentor, right? And I'm sure you face a lot of challenges before you get here, or even challenges in what you are doing now. Maybe you can share with us some stories that you have.
Our life is full of challenges. When you ask me challenges, I don't know where to start.
So many.
Yeah, so many. But I think before I go there, can I just say that, when you were saying that you throw your full support to your daughter, I think that's very, very important. For example, my youngest brother, I think similarly, right, I could see that he was struggling in his late, like when he was in primary school and then going on to secondary school. I could really see him struggle in primary school, and then he didn't really enjoy it. And then he went to secondary school, was struggling. But I would say that it was at the point in Sec 3, and it was only in Sec 3 where I think I spoke to my parents and I told them, I said, hey, you know what, I think it's time for us to accept him, right? It's time for us to be okay with whatever path that he wants to take, and be supportive. Because what happens was, when my parents were placing their expectations on him, he became more and more reclusive, right? So quiet, extremely quiet, doesn't open up. Whenever you're in the family car, he's quiet at the window, and then I don't know, this fella body here, soul don't know where, that kind of thing. Doesn't talk, doesn't share.
Sounds like some of my students.
Yeah. And then until one day, and I sat down with my parents and I said, I think it's time for us to accept. You raised me in a certain way, but the times are changing, right? And I think with them, you have to change your method. And it was only then when my parents started accepting and, letting him do what that he wants to take, that was when we started seeing him blossom, you know, was like a 360, you know. And then it was also a good timing because the school selected him to go for a leadership course, which previously he was never selected for all these things. He went to Korea, he came back, totally different person. By the time he took his Sec 4, he was, you know, one of the top students.
He was totally enabled.
Yeah, he was totally enabled. So
That is how important support is.
correct. So I just wanted to chime in on that. So back to
The challenges that you
my
faced.
challenges, right? So again, it was
6,900 challenges, right?
yeah, that's right. So I think just very quickly, I'll just zero in one of the challenges was basically while my youngest brother had me to kind of like speak to my parents, I didn't have anybody to champion for me lah, because it was probably 12, you know, I'm 12 years older than him, right? Sometimes people ask me, is it a good thing? I always tell them, I say it's very good because in a way I'm a bit like an uncle, you know, like kind of like young uncle to my brothers, right? So I can always advise them because I go ahead first and then, you know, like commando, right? Although this is quite fat commando, but I go commando, I say, okay, infantry, come, you know, this one reservist. Yeah, so basically, I think for me, when I was at his path, there was nobody to guide me. I think that was the challenge, right? So when I went to ITE, the challenge was that maybe at that time in 2003, when this is where the age all comes in. 2003, where were you now?
I was 1 year old.
1 year old, okay, let's not go there. Let's not go there. Okay, my fault. Okay. So what happened was, I think in 2003, 2004 at that time, I think we were still at the stage whereby the stigma was strong, right? Social stigma, negative perception of ITE. I'm sure over the years, I think over the years it would have improved gradually, right? And I think my understanding, the sentiments of ITE graduates today is extremely positive among employers.
Yes.
But among parents, we still have a lot work to do.
A lot of work to
A
do,
lot of work
yes.
to do, yeah. But at that time, which is, why I hate saying this, 22 years ago.
Do not.
Yeah, so 2003, 2004, I think the challenge was when I was 17. My mom had certain expectations. So, you know, you were saying just now about your parents probably, in terms of like education. For me, my dad was the chill one, right? So, again, you know, born in the 60s, not much opportunities. But my mom was more like, well, parents were working in a particular government, you know, although they were low-ranking staff, my grandparents, but they were working in government, so they expected the children also to go
There's
government.
certain expectations of you.
Correct. For her education was advanced diploma. At that time, big deal already.
Big deal
Oh,
already.
big deal
Yes,
already, you know.
that was many years
Advanced
back.
diploma,
So, yeah.
you know. Yeah.
So she would expect you to get like a degree.
Oh, I tell you, at that time when I was secondary school, nothing less than 75 is high. But when it comes to my parents, my brothers, 60 and below also can. What happened?
I tell you,
Not
that
fair.
is always the first child that
fair.
kena.
Yeah. Again, I'm not belittling my brothers, but anyway. So I think for me the challenge was the perception from family members. So my dad was very supportive because he came from ITE lah. So it was okay. He said, it's okay, son. You know. So I think it's important whereby you need to have family members who are supportive.
Yeah.
My dad just told her, let him take his path. So we had a bit of a ceasefire lah, whereby we just quiet, but I know she wasn't happy. So until I progressed academically from ITE, I went to Poly, I went to uni, I went to SMU to do my 4 years bachelor degree. Then after I went through my masters in NTU. So I think over time I proved to her that I can
She
do it.
must be so proud of you, Farhan. That you made me
Over
very
time,
happy.
tiring lah. But yeah, but I think that was the challenge, the stigma. But I think not so much. It wasn't just her, but it was also family members. You know, like the relatives and all that. All the comparisons lah. My son go here.
Oh my,
My
yes.
daughter podiatrist PhD. you know, all these things.
Yeah. Talking about comparisons, actually, this is what I feel as parents. We are pressurizing our kids to do their best because of the pressure that other parents put on their children. I feel pressured when I see other parents put in a lot of effort, putting their children in enrichment classes, this class, that class, piano class. So yeah lah, like the show lah. Basically Durani lah. You know this Durani. So I feel like because I see parents do that, and I feel like, oh wait a minute, my child is not in any enrichment class. I should send them in enrichment class. Wait a minute, she's posting about her child getting AL5, AL6. My child's prelims not so good. I need to push my child. So I think it is the pressure also of other parents putting pressure on the child that's putting pressure on us parents who are actually quite chill, but because we don't want our child to lose out. Alexan, so I want to talk about your business a little bit.
Yes.
Was it what was the hardest part about turning your passion into business?
Yeah, so I have no degree and I have a diploma in pastry and baking. So I have no formal education on business and on management itself. So for me, it's really to learn and to just do it and one step at a time. So for me, I started doing events and I did pop-ups and all that. So from there, I really learned to manage my business and also to grow my business from $200 to where it is now. It's a Jewel Changi, my first ever outlet. So business-wise, I'm still learning, to be very honest. I cannot say that I got it. In terms of pastry, definitely I know that I got the skills. I'm knowledgeable on that. But for business-wise, I feel that I really lean on my parents who are entrepreneurs as well. So they give me their, like when we're having dinner, they'll give me their insight on how to build a business, how to calculate the finance and all that. So now I would say that I'm juggling everything, but from a business point of view, I am still learning lah.
May, so as a mom, right, how do you balance supporting your kids' passions with your own hopes for them? Like for me, of course, I have certain expectations of my children, but I also want to support them in whatever they want to do, whatever they're passionate about. So how do you do it?
If my child at 16, for example, know his or her passion, I think it's a gift of life, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
look at
So
Farhan
young,
and Alexander. They were young at 16, and they were mature enough to, not give up, make the best out of his secretarial course. And at 16, you decided that I think I like baking. It's okay. I think I want to give it a shot. And if you already know that you love something so much and you want to pursue it, I think as parents we should allow them to pursue it because they are young and they have the time. And most adults at this age or older than us do not know what our passion is. And once we find out, maybe at 50, and then we've got some responsibilities in the background, and we don't have the guts to go and try, then your passion will die with you. So when you're at 16 and you should go forth. And my hopes will only be for me to hold, because then if you know where you want to go. And I want to say that after my polytechnic in computer studies, I decided that I didn't like it, right? I love my polytechnic years, the adventure, the culture and everything.
Yes.
But I just didn't like that specialization. And so in university, I decided to major in finance and marketing. And then I realized, hey, I didn't like finance too. So it didn't lead me to the career, to my first career or my first job, which I ended up working as a hotelier. But I love what I do. And like my dad said, education is the journey to knowledge, right? And all these are absorbed in me. It shaped me. It helped me. And I did well in my job. And it's okay not to follow whatever
Conventional route, yes.
certificate that you have. It's
Exactly.
okay. And if my children want to explore, they've got the gift of youth as well to explore, and they should. And we should encourage them.
So, Darling, I'm sure you've worked with so many students and you've met parents as well. What would you like to say to parents who struggle to let go of the idea that success means good grades and therefore you'll get a safe career in the future? What do you have to say to them?
I would say that it takes courage, right? I mean, like, even for yourself, even though you went through such an unconventional route, but yet you are apprehensive when you see that your daughter is going to choose something that's so different, right? Because why parents are the root of it is insecurity, and the trigger, right, is really when you really want to see your children succeed. Right? You really want to see your children thrive. And you are very afraid that, they may choose something that they may end up regretting, or they may choose something that will lead to a dead end. They are young, they are growing, and it's their journey to go onto, and it is their time to learn. So nothing is cast in stone, right? Even like parents who choose to be on the other end of the spectrum, I'm going to show my support all the way. I'm going to pump in the money. I'm going to pump in the resources. I'm going to man my child's store, even as she's here doing a podcast. Right? But you have to accept and let go and accept the fact that this may then still also only be just a season, right? That they are still growing, they're still learning, right? Nothing is cast in stone.
Yes.
So whatever that you choose to support, try to show your support fully, unconditionally, as much as you can, but leave your child to thrive and accept that this may yet be just another milestone, just be another step in their journey. Yeah, because like I like what May say, they have the gift of youth.
But I must say, even though I fully support my children in what they would like to do in future, now their responsibility is school. And so I still do expect them to put their best foot forward. And I'm not here just to sit and wait and say, you don't have to do anything and then we'll see where you go. But of course not. The child still has to put in the hard work. They still need to put in the effort. I'm still here nagging that, hey, consistency matters. We don't believe in cramming, but consistency matters. You need to plan your time properly, prioritize your well-being. And then, then you see what we are teaching our children is, like you said, soft skills from this. But no, we don't compromise on them not trying to study well.
Yes.
Still, they have to do their job and their responsibility as a student.
So our job as educators would be to partner parents, right, in this journey together to help their child achieve their fullest potential. And when we say fullest potential, it need not just be academic results, right? The character, how they manage themselves, soft skills. I think these are all equally important.
I also think that parents are not aware of the many opportunities that are available for all our kids and the future generations. It is totally different from the time when they were in school, because I think back then it was very conventional. Okay, you grow up lawyer, doctor, teacher, all these careers only.
Engineer.
But now there are so many opportunities. So I think we should let our kids decide on what they want and let them try as well. It's not just about deciding, okay, I want to be a content creator. Sometimes you try different paths just to get to where you are. Like, Darling is a very good example of that. 15 jobs before she decides.
Try and
being
make
a
and
teacher.
learn and make the mistakes
Yes,
and experience
and it's
it.
okay to fail. Oh my gosh, this is so hard for
But
me
it
to
is
say.
so hard.
It's so hard,
right?
It's actually really
Because
hard.
I remember when I was a secondary school student and I was studying really hard for a test the next morning. It was very late and my dad came in the room, turned off the light and said, go to sleep. I said, I can't go to sleep. I have a test tomorrow and I'll fail if I don't study. And he said, then fail. And I'm like, I can't. Then he said, this is house rules. After a certain time, no more studying. You need to know that you need to prioritize your sleep, your well-being. And if you need to fail, you fail. And if you learn something out of this is plan your time properly in future when you're studying. So I learned so much from it. But today, as the little girl grew up to this adult, and I still can't accept failure. I mean, we understand. We understand. And it's great teaching. And I tell my children the same. Just fail. But I myself just can't accept it because it's in my character that I don't like to fail and I don't want to be set for failure. So we did suggest to our kids as well, just fail, just try and fail. But I mean, my
easier
level,
said than done.
I know. But my level of failing is 49 and below. But to my son, 70 to him is, not good enough.
Really?
But
Wow.
he is getting 70s and he feels bad about himself sometimes. And I told,
He sets very high expectations of himself.
yes. So it's good and bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he tries to work harder and to put in more effort and sometimes wondering why it didn't work out. But I mean, they're still so young. I mean, the maturity is also not there. Yes, but as long as you have got the heart and the will, you will get there. We just all need to be patient because every child blossoms at a different time.
May, what's the one thing you'd want other parents to remember when their kids decided to take an unexpected path in their life?
I think, I try not to tell my children what my hopes are for them or my expectations, but I do have expectations. But I decide to keep that to myself. In any case, I would ask them, what is your expectations? And if this is your expectation of what you want to do by the end of the year, I am here to help you achieve it.
Yeah, whatever path they decide to take, I think it's important that we support them. And if they feel the love, they feel the support, you don't have to worry.
And don't be scared to take the the path less traveled maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and for your valuable insights. If there's one thing we take away from today, it's this. Success isn't about following a script. It's about finding what makes sense for you or your child and taking that step with courage and thoughtfulness. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe and share. Follow us for more episodes of Canteen Chats where we'll explore big questions about education, parenting, and more. Thanks for watching Canteen Chat. Stay curious and remember, learning isn't limited to a single route. There are many ways to make your mark. See you next time. But before that, how can you come here? You didn't bring your donuts. Of course, we all have to try your donuts. Let's bring the donuts in. Yay! Wow. Okay.
Very colourful.